Hey, you there. Thank you for watching and welcome to Force Lines Forever. Today I have a 5v5 custom match here on the most amazing Neuroxys map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the Northeast, ending with Team 2 in the Southwest. Starting off with Team 1 Southern player and working our way northward, it is Giant Mechs 14 going first land as a Cybran. He is a 1200 to his northwest in orange color orange. It is Triarch going first land as a Seraphim. He is an 1100 to his northeast. We have in Imperial Gray Strider going first land as a Seraphim as well. He is a 1400. In Stitch Blue for Team 1, we have Loki going first there as a Cybran. He is a 1600. The highest rated player on Team 1 and in the game overall. And the other blue player on Team 1 is Velolur. That's a very hard word to say for some reason. Going first land as a UEF. He is an 1100. Over Team 1 side of the map, they have 1 UEF, 2 Seraphim, and 2 Cybrans, which means Team 1 lacks Aeon technology. Starting off Team 2's lineup in the north and working our way southward. In Chevy Crimson, we have Cunning Fox. He's going first land as a UEF. He is a 1400. To his southeast, we have in Glow in the Dark Green, Fickham going first land as a Cybran. He is a 1200. To his south, we have in in Batman Gray, Babel going first land as an Aeon. He is a 1500. He is tied for the highest rated player on his team. And the player with which he is tied with is in Forest Green, playing as a UEF. It is Literal going first land. Again, he is a 1500, and he is the best color in faction combination in all of Supreme Commander. And last but not least here for Team 2 in Pac-Man Yellow, we have Composite going first land as an Aeon. He is a 1000 rated player, also going second air. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have 2 UEF, 2 Aeon, and 1 Cybran, which means Team 2 lacks Seraphim technology. And for 10 players on the map, let's take a look at how much reclaim they have to scoop up. Currently sitting at 15,000 reclaim, which means it's 1.5k mass per player to scoop up. Not a terrible amount of mass. Definitely seen a lot more in recent casts, but definitely a decent amount. And for Team 1 side of the map, let's take a look at how much mass points they have to grab, at least in terms of the high concentrated ones. We have a Trimax position here and here, as well as, we'll say this one's on Team 1 side of the map, a Quad Mechs position down here, and a Dual Mechs on a lower section of the map. And maybe that you can call this a Trimax position. Maybe it's a little bit further out in terms of spreading out. I can call that a Trimax position. So 3 Trimax positions in the north, 1 of them in the middle. That adds up to 4, with a Quad Mechs position in the south and a Twin Mechs down there with a kind of nice little one-offs in a couple of different places. In terms of the mass, in terms of reclaim locations, they're mainly spread out all around the map except for a high concentration in the cliffs, plateaus area in the middle. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead to see where our players are off to in this game. We do see that Team 2 is moving. I think everybody on Team 2, besides Cunning Fox, is moving to the middle of the map in some degree. Same thing here for Team 1. We see 4 of the 5 players with Thoraxi Machis building a nice little air facility and then moving to the upper plateau for this Quad Mechs position. We do see a couple of scouts outbound here from him as well to get a nice little view on what's going on the other side of the map. A little bit of vision. We'll probably activate his radar here shortly to provide some nice little signatures, as well as a nice little air scout to provide some view on that side of the map. It looks like starting off it's going to be a 1v1, maybe 2v1, but at least a 1v1 between Thrasy and Literal in the south. Looks like it's going to be at least a 2v2 between Babel, Fickham versus Triarch, and Strider, and then it's going to be Cunning Fox versus Loki in the north. So maybe we'll see somebody switch over in one position, but that's 2v2, 1v1, and 1v1. That's only 4 of the 5 players. Who else am I missing? We do see Composite down here in the south, and of course Thrasy isn't in his main base yet, but I mentioned him And the other player I didn't mention would be the other blue player. Oh, he's hiding over here. There he is, hiding in his mixes. That is Eventhough in the north. So it might be a 2v1 in the north, excuse me. A 2v2 in the middle, and a possibly 2v1 in the south. So again, Team 1 being in favor in the north, Team 2 being in favor in the south. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit, because that action is starting to kick off a little bit later in the game than normal 5v5s. It's taking a little bit to traverse the middle of the map. Both players establishing a nice little front line, at least on Team 2 side of the map. Nice couple of facilities with some labs running around trying to harass the engineers and other units guarding this approach. That labs do not make their way through, but they do inflict some casualties. We do see that Little is fanning his units out to provide a nice little breath of intel, as well as, of course, early warning systems if his units are killed off. We do see that Babel has joined the fight in the middle, a little bit further back, but he is pushing in. We do see that Strider is moving in as well. Team 2's Cunning Fox continuing to pressure the northwestern side of the map. Team 1 not fighting this push, so Cunning Fox is getting tons of free territory. We do see that gun speed and range has been starting here for both Triarch and Ficum in the middle. It is a Seraphim versus a Cybran. Cybran having less hit points on board that commander by 1,500. Babel moving in. Maybe he'll go for one of his upgrade. Strider might go for his upgrade as well. Gun damage range has been started for Little in the south. And we're seeing, again, a similar kind of story for both sides of the map. Team 1 Thrashy getting a ton of free territory. Same thing with Cunning Fox in the northwest. So I don't know if this is planned or not, or just serendipity or whatever the case may be. I don't know if Team 2 just doesn't want to pressure Team 1, or if Team 1 wants to pressure Team 2 at all. It seems kind of... they're just letting it happen, essentially, and really mainly focus on defensive measures here and here, not electing to go for this quad mechs position. I don't know why. They could easily have just sent some transports over, tried to secure it, and delay Team 1 at a minimum. Same thing for Team 2, but not really the case here for either of those players. Kind of very interesting and not going for it. We do see that, again, Strider moving in on the western side. We see Babel moving in on the eastern side. Very much, you know, symmetrical here in this game. One player goes one way, one player goes the other way. And we do see a little bit of outbound action here in the north from Cunning Fox trying to provide, or trying to just skim by Team 1's forces, but Veo does see him and will intercept those quite easily. We do see that Loki is shifting northward now. He was going south, now he's going north to try to assist with any sort of bleeding in the north that may or may not occur. Nano repair has been started here for Literal in the south, be able to survive any sort of bombing or front line efforts. Rathzy getting some PD online in the middle to protect against any sort of, not necessarily pincer maneuvers, but what's the word, scalpel maneuvers, just straight down the middle here to protect himself. He does have a decent position, of course. Those quad mechs is going to provide a decent amount of eco here to his offers, as well as providing a nice little barrier and providing a nice little kill box if Team 2 does traverse in this direction. There's actually a kill box essentially from here all the way to here. It's best right here, but again, it's essentially this whole section of the map is a kill box. A very tight environment, messes with the pathfinding and all of that. Triarch with his gun upgrade, forcing Babel onto the plateau's edge, and he's trying to get out of dodge, but there's no way out of here. He's already dropping into the mid-yellows, and Triarch is still fine. He has that gun upgrade on board. Bombers coming in, gonna seal the deal here. Team 2 is gonna lose their first player of the game in the form of Babel, dropping into the red. Sub 1,000 hit points. He gets a rank eventually, but it doesn't matter. The bombers do get killed off on the way to a nice little radar station, but Team 2 loses the first player of the game at 8.5 minutes by the hands of Triarch. We do see that Strider goes, nope, not letting that happen to me. Goes, see ya, bye, see ya. We do see that counterattacks are starting to mount here in the north for those two blue players on Team 1 for Veo and Loki. Gun speed and range has been started for Thrashy. He might start moving in on this kill box area, but I just feel like he would be better suited to just have Team 2 attack him, scoop up the mass, and call it a day, because traversing this side or this side is just going to be more annoying. This is a little bit less of a kill box, but getting some artillery, getting some PD, getting some shields up here is definitely going to benefit him to some great degree, especially because he can shoot that shoot to that plateau on the other side of this little valley into a little lake area. I don't see any comms really hiding in the water. Maybe one hiding in one of these, but probably not on the edges of the map. We do see that the ecos here for Team 1 and Team 2 are pretty much even. Team 1 barely a little bit more than Team 2, but the numbers are still fluctuating to a decent degree, so it's kind of really hard to tell how much Team 1 is winning by. It's about 4 to 10 mass per second. Really nothing for Team 2 to be concerned about. Stealth has been started here for Thrasy. Maybe we'll go for Nano next. Possibly, maybe, possibly not, I guess. We do see that Fickum is still pushing in the middle. Nano Repair has now been started for Triarch in the middle. Going to get some more regen on board that Commander's chassis just to protect himself a little bit more. Striker still holding position in the north. I think he's being a little bit more of the air player and going for a little bit more eco. He's sitting at 50 and Thrasy sitting at 86. Thrasy, to be fair, has a decent section of the map, getting his T2 mechs online quite quickly. The jumpstart that eco. We do see that Team 2 has T3 air technology at 10.5 minutes, and T2 also online here for composite. We have 2 air players, at least one main one and a secondary one with another secondary facility as well for literal. Those are both actually one is Aeon, one is UEF. Very interesting that he gets UEF tech as well. Maybe he just wants the gunships that the UEF provide. Team 1 also has 2 air players, but we are seeing, again, that's going to be most likely Strider and then Loki being the assistant. Or not assistant, but secondary. He's also going for T3 air as well. Maybe it'll be flipped. Maybe it's going to be the other way around because Striker is producing gunship. Nano Repair still going on the way here for Team 1's Triarch. And Cunning Fox pushing in the Team 1's territory. There is a nice little PD placement. Will not stop the comm of Cunning Fox, especially with some T2 pillars nearby. He's transitioned into T2 tech, which means he'll probably transition into T3 tech as we speak, essentially skipping the T2 stage, getting a couple of AA and parashields online. He has more T2 facilities, so he's just pumping out units, making it look like he's not going for T3, but he is going for T3. And Repair now at 60% here for Team 1's Triarch in the middle. T2 has been started here for composite. We have some gunships and interceptors outbound here from Striker, looking to get some kills on some commanders or just units in general. T1 PD and AA down here, and a couple of units down here as well for Thrasy. He can move these in and try to corner the comm of composite. Unfortunately, those gunships got eviscerated. Actually, they're over here. Never mind. Don't know where they're going. Looks like they're going to try to find the comm, and they do. There's a decent amount of AA surrounding that comm. They're targeting the AA emplacements as we speak, and the mobiles as well, but a nice little swift one is online as well for composite. Those gunships have now lost one of its members, going down to 2 now. I don't really think this attack is going to go the way that Striker wants it to go, but some damage is going to be done, but probably not enough. The comm of Thrasy is moving in with his gun and stealth commander, so this might be enough to break Team 2's position in the south. In the middle, Team 1 is slowly being pushed back, but we do see that Triarch does have that nano on board now, and Fickum is pushing forward with his nice little PD firebase emplacement. Triarch just being chickled at this point, being like, nah, it's not a lot of hit points, it's going to be perfectly fine. Fickum decides to just engage directly with the commander and goes, oh, that's not a good idea. Fickum is now at 8,000 hit points, and units are moving in here from Triarch. It's not going to be great here for Fickum. He walked in to a bad situation, essentially. He's dropping into the yellow. Sub 5,600 hit points and falling. Sub 5,000 hit points. T1 bombers coming in as well as some T2 gunships as well. It's going to seal the deal here for Triarch. Give him a second kill in this game. Those bombs are dodged a little bit. Fickum does get rank efficiency just to save himself just a little bit. But Triarch is falling, decently quickly. But I think he's going to go for that kill, and he will kill most of his units for Fickum. And there's that Cerberus PD still online. That is the second kill for Team 1 and for Triarch as well. It is now a 5v3 in favor of Team 1. The Northeastern team gun damage range has been started for Cunning Fox. Very far forward, but he does have a lot of support in both the shield tech and the AA tech, so he should be fine against any sort of snipes. Not going great here for Team 2 in the middle. Both of the middle comms have been destroyed. It's going to be a lot of splitting attention. I wouldn't be surprised to see Literal actually shift his comm northward to plug this hole, because we do see some raining going down here from Striker, and as well for the comm of Triarch at 3-star vacancy at 14 minutes. Thrassi still holding here, just trying to slowly push into Team 2's territory. We can see Composite. They know the comm is somewhere, they just don't know exactly where he is. They can't see him because he is stealth currently. He has those radar jamming on board. There aren't any Omni or, of course, Vision nearby, so he should be fine. Getting some more units, using that transport to cut down the travel time for his units to resupply him a lot quicker. He's going to get a nice little T2 land facility as well. I would like to see him go for his shield just to protect himself a little bit more. Only 12,000 hit points on board that commander. Not a lot of hit points, so just needs to be careful in that regard. I do hear some missiles firing in the north, possibly. Those are flapjacks. Those don't sound like Vipers. That's what I hear fire. Is it just these? I didn't notice if they're right here. The Vipers firing at this position. And there are some TMD emplacements for those volcanoes trying to deter those missiles, but the volcanoes are just barely out of range. And those frontline PD are just being destroyed. There's really no hope for them. Unfortunately, Fickham says, I'm an idiot. I wouldn't think he's an idiot. He just underestimated his opponent and got killed for it. It does happen all the time, so doesn't really have to worry too much. Just learn from the mistakes and move on kind of thing. Cunning Fox going for a shield, has nano and gun on board. Loki has gun and 1-star veterancy. The parachutes around that commander for Fox have been at least disabled for the time being, but he is getting his own personal shield, so that's 19,000 additional hit points on top of the 15,000. For a total of 34,000 hit points. A little bit under that technically, but 34,000 hit points. Couple of missiles nearby. Just trying to deter that shield upgrade. He will finish it. Looks like they're targeting the land facility first. Units coming into range once again. Loki will be forced back. He needs some assistance from his teammate Eventhough to really just push on through. It's a gun, shield, and nano versus a gun comm that's only going to favor one way, especially with some parashields and a lot of T2 support. We do see a couple of Riptides online, but there's really not a lot here. Veo is macroing the forces here, and of course Loki is macroing himself down here. But with the shield upgrade now on board, Cunning Fox's commander, like I said, 34,000 hit points are a lot of hit points to try to chew through, and Loki is running out of troops very, very quickly. He is getting some nice overcharges, and now some Titans are making their stage appearance here for Cunning Fox, and this is just going to really work in Team 2's favor as he pushes back Loki and the other blue player of Vale back to their main bases. T3 Air, of course, is online for both teams, and T3 Land essentially online for everybody on Team 1 and Team 2, at least in some regard. There's some land facilities and some air facilities, but there aren't any T3 Land down here as of yet. Firebase has been established. Not really a lot of PD or shields or much of anything else, but it's just distracting Team 2 at a minimum. With the comm of Thrashy going, I'm just going to go home. I don't want to get sniped. It's almost 20 minutes. I'm just going to leave and hope for the best down there. We did see that Literal did transition his commander to the middle, and Cunning Fox spending and sending support in the middle of the map here. Firebase Wars has now been on the mind here for Literal, and Triarch is just going to send some walls and embed them with some PD just to protect himself and his team in the middle. We do see a couple of units patrolling on the north just in case Team 2 sends forces that way, but he will know that once those forces are ended up engaged or killed off, or both. And the action is kind of dead down. Still, Cunning Fox holds position here, and wall sections have been established to try to deter the invasion of Team 1 on that northern side, forcing Team 1 to engage where Cunning Fox wants them to engage right here. I do like this Team D base up here. I would like to see artillery and missile launchers up here just to take advantage of being higher up, and it's harder for units on the ground to shoot at that stuff up there. But, he is distracted in the front line with his commander, so I can't blame him for that. We do see that tournaments are almost on the clock here for the game, but we've had 2 casualties on Team 2. Team 1 has not lost anybody. The only person that I do fear that Team 1 might lose first would be Triarch being very far forward. Not necessarily very far forward, but in the middle of the map with everybody else behind him. Thrassi was the furthest far forward and went, no, I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to retreat. But he's sending a lot of support down the edge of the map, essentially forcing Team 2 to engage. him where he wants them, which is in this kill box. And of course, they can always retreat and build another firebase and essentially replicate that exact same scenario here. And the engagement's a little bit better for him over here, but even if he has to flee, he can do it once again, and he's building a little bit of a nice production facility up here, getting some trebuchets as well to just shell his opponent. Hopefully he'll sit on the edge here, but maybe he'll be out of range and have to go around. Lots of chatting going down here in world chat. Cunning doesn't like radar apparently, and they MML here now. Mobile missile launchers, Babel. T2 is the main stage here for Eventhough. He needs to go for those T3 units, those very, very useful, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, units. It will come to me. Not the flapjacks or T2. Oh, brain is failing me right now. What are they called? What are they called? They are called spearheads. There we go. That's what they're called. I just have to remember that they throw, 4 spears at a time. That's probably the way I'm going to remember their names. I don't see a large expansion of air grid. It's starting to happen here for Team 1. Team 2, a little bit more of an expansion here for literal and a little bit here for composite, but not a lot of expansion in the air department for either team at 21 minutes. And speaking of 21 minutes, overall, Team 1 sitting at 800 mass income. I'll kind of round it off there so the math is easy. Team 2 at 650 or so about 150 plus mass in favor of Team 1. Team 1 owns, I'd say 50%, just due to the fact that Cunning Fox is essentially in roughly the same position that Thrasy is in on Team 1 side of the map. So about 50-50, but Team 2 is down 2 players, having 3 players remaining. Team 1 has not lost anybody as of yet. We could see a flawless game for Team 1. It is possible, but is it likely? The amount of flawless games definitely are outnumbered by the amount of non-flawless games, so I highly doubt it, but it is possible. And let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. And of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching to this point in the video. And of course, I encourage you to continue to watch to the end of the video, because why not? You've already watched this far. Why not watch how the game does end? Reducing that nano repair has been started for Thrasy, upgrading that stealth, upgrading the upgrade, essentially, just going to the next stage of the upgrade. Titans roaming in, taking out a ton of these T2 units here for Cunning Fox. Cunning Fox getting a decent amount of efficiency from those Titans. Already up to 3-star. We'll get to 4-star here pretty quickly with those overcharges outbound from him. And we do see these mobile missile launchers just tearing into this Team B base up here. Unfortunately, it's not going to last very long. Trying to build some Team 1 PD, that's not going to help against flapjacks or even spearheads. So for that matter, it's kind of not really great. GC question marks. It's Fickham saying, hey, you should build a GC. Literally, he's the only one that can build GCs. And those Titans are starting to just essentially turn the kill box on, not necessarily on itself, but Cunning Fox is in the middle of the kill box, but he's been pushing outward, and now Team 1 is pushing inward. And Cunning Fox is starting to fall back a little bit. He's trying to push Team 1 back to send his forces north, but the Titans are just ripping apart all of these T2 units. He really needs some Percy's online, but he does have a monkey, which is very, very useful to punching through Team 1's defenses. Team 1 does not have anything that can fight that back. You see a Fat Boy that's in the yellow, but that's not going to be ready for a little bit. I don't see any chickens, but Nuke is online for Team 1. That is very dangerous here for Team 2. I think Team 2 noticed that. Yep, they do notice that, so that is not going to be great here for them. But that Monkey Lord, of course, is going to push in. Cunning Fox continuing to just pressure Team 1. He wants to get as much distance into Team 1 space as he can and then send the Monkey Lord to defend his commander. The only thing I see not really working for this is Team 1 could just, build up a bunch of gunships or bombers and just rip apart that comm. It is a little dangerous, as well as the fact that this base is being destroyed as we speak by Team 1, so there's really nothing that Cunning Fox can fall back to up here. He has to go back down the middle and in that valley area. Comm of Loki going for an upgrade, probably stealth. Yep, going for stealth, going for nano next. And that Monkey Lord is pushing in. The comm continuing to support it. It's the comm and the monkey going to push into Team 1's base. And that is not going to feel good. Laser going to, again, be the distraction for the comm, or the comm is the distraction for the monkey, or vice versa, or whatever you want to see. Either that's the distraction or that's the distraction. Monkey Lord's at 45,000 hit points. The Calm is technically at 39,000 hit points, so almost the same amount of hit points. If you add the shield and get the fact that it's, now it's at 49,000 technically instead of 45,000. It was pretty close, but now it's essentially 10,000 hit points difference. Cunning Fox looks like he will retreat. He pushed in far enough, supported the monkey through. The Fat Boy does finish in time. And the Fat Boy goes, that's not great. I'm not going to let that monkey try to touch me with its laser. And will now retreat. Team 1, I mean, they need to deal with this. They're going to lose a couple of T3 Mechs in this exchange. Team 2 needed a win. I don't know if they'll get a kill from that. I highly doubt it, especially with all the support now raining down on top of it. Or at least moving in that direction. We see bombers being built up here by Striker. Yeah, Striker. I think that's is it Strider? Because I forget how it's pronounced with the X. I think it's Strider. Anyway, the Monkey Lord is almost destroyed by the amount of Fat Boy fire. And we do see a decent amount of flak dealing with those bombers. And now T3 Ravagers have been built up by those engineers. More pillars coming in. They're trying to pierce Team 1's defenses even further. The Pigeons would be a good target to try to take out some eco here for Veo. He's sitting at 5,200, so taking out 2 would not necessarily cripple his income, but it would do just enough to be very, very annoying. Engineers have been destroyed, and they a lot of units remaining. Team 1 does get decently protected. Team 2's Cunning Fox did force back Team 1 quite significantly, but the attack does not pierce as far into Team 1's territory as he would like. In the southern side of things, Thrasty still holds the position down south and in the middle. The same kind of story, Firebase Wars, not really anything going on between these two teams. And I don't see anything else in the base here for Team 2 as of yet. SMD has been built to counter the nuke. And I don't see GC. I see a lot of more T3 units online trying to force back Thrasty, but it's a tall order. They have to walk again through a kill box to another kill box area that hasn't been established yet. I do like the perimeter monitoring station that has been constructed. Gets a huge section of the map revealed to himself and his team. Provides a lot of constant intelligence. Well, it's vision, so it is constant. We do see those loyalists being deployed. At least I saw them down here redirecting the missiles. Yeah, there's one right there. I would assume there's some up here, but maybe I just saw the missiles being redirected down here. Yep, it's just being redirected from down here. And they're firing back at Team 2's forces. There's a lot of spearheads in, so they fire missiles very, very quickly and a lot at a time. Do we have SMD, says Ficum. There's an SMD back here, but there isn't anywhere else. That nuke is going to, yep, that nuke is going to launch soon. Speaking of which, that nuke is about to load and launch, and it is going to nuke as we speak. Where is it going? That SMD, will it be loaded? Yes, the SMD will load in time. Literal being like, whew, it's loaded. We're good. We're good. We're good. Good.
Strategic launch
And that nuke will land, trying to get a nice little AoE on all of this. It's going to get denied, unfortunately, but you know that would have been, I think, a swift end to Team 2 had that SMD not been loaded in time. It just would have been a huge hole that Team 2 would have to deal with. But Team 2's Cunning Fox still pushing into Team 1's territory, trying to do as much as they can to hold on to the territory that they've denied. Reclaim what they can reclaim, that sort of thing. The monkey and other units wouldn't be reclaimed because it's just far into Team 1's territory, but at least everything else will be reclaimed, so definitely good on Team 2's Cunning Fox for getting that reclaim order up and running. We do see that in total. Team 2 sitting at 67,000, with Cunning Fox sitting at 40 of that 67. Almost reclaimed more mass the entirety than Team 1. Team 1 is producing more mass per second at 1.2k versus essentially 1,000. So more than 200 mass income here for Team 1. That is a decent chunk of mass to be up per second. And that will amount to more experimentals, more nukes, more game enders, that sort of thing. Chickens have been planned for Triarch, the Yothothas. We do see a Yothotha almost done here for Striker, or Strider. I think it's Strider. And that's really going to just punch through Team 2's defenses down here. And Literal not micro them as much as he probably ought to. But again, he's busy attacking on the south, attacking on the middle, building up his air grid. He's doing a lot at the same time. Speaking of air, I don't see a lot for Team 1. There are 72 ASFs for Team 2. Loki sitting at 25 and Strider sitting at 7. That's not really great. Just by default, Team 2's Literal has more ASFs, which means he has air control He's close to dominance at being more than 50 ASF more, but it's like 40, I mean, it's like 35 something. So Team 2 does have an avenue of attack in that air game, but they're not really utilizing it, and have also been locked out, or at least slightly locked out by Loki. Loki producing 27 T3 AA emplacements just to, again, curtail any sort of either gunships or spy planes or whatever else. We even see more AA outbound from Thrassi as well. So Team 1 isn't focusing on air, and because they're not focusing on air, they're countering air for Team 2 by building AA emplacements. I love that because they know what they're weak at and are countering it now rather than later. So it's a good example of, well, we're not focusing on air. Let's build AA. Maybe our opponent will go for AA, and then it'll kind of be a moot point. We do see more AA for Composite as well. Didn't even count his. He's sitting at 46 with 13 gunships. So Team 2 in air, no, actually they have air dominance. Not supremacy yet, but it's getting close to supremacy marks here. And Team 1 sending out their Fat Boy outbound from Veo in the north, trying to force back Cunning Fox. Cunning Fox is having some power problems. Looks like he's going for a nice little Billy Nuke, because what else would you be upgrading after Gun and Nano? I can actually probably check the chat and see if that is what he's going for. Yep, Tactical Nuke has been started. So he is going to go for the Billy Nuke. That might be enough, but he does lose 19,000 hit points. Lose, air quotes, 19,000 hit points because of that. Literal builds and experimental. Is it a Colossus? It is. He's going to send that forward. There is that chicken outbound from Team 1. It's just sitting over there for Strider. There's another chicken over here for him as well. Should be transferred over to either Loki or Veo just so he can micro it a lot better. Billy Nuke is almost done. And then we'll start trying to open holes in Team 1's defenses once again. But Team 1 is getting more shored up everywhere, especially in the air department. The Team 2 really needs to start taking out those emplacements and allow the air from their teammates to move in and deal with vital structures, either being P-gens or mass extractors or both. We do see that Land Army has pushed in through the defenses down here. Monkey has almost been built here as well for Thrassi, so it's just going to be delaying tactics for as long as he can. He's done a great job. He's held off 2 players essentially on land in the southern section of the map for the entirety of the game. So he's done a great job of that. Nuke is outbound. It's going to open a hole in the middle of the map here, and there's no chickens to respond to that, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them moved into the middle here pretty shortly. Laser sniped something out of the sky. There was a nice little spy plane, just got zapped. Nuke is outbound. It isn't going to do a lot of damage. It'll just open the door. You do see a lot of interceptors after some spy planes here on, I think that's Loki's forces. Here comes the nuke. It is the prettiest nuke of the game in terms of the design. Here it comes. Kaboom! Takes out everything down here. Kills off how much mass there? Strider kills off 12,000 mass. He has a rank convention with the little brackets, not brackets, less than or greater than alligator symbols. I know there's probably another name for them, but I just don't remember the name for them. Symbols next to his name. Nano repair has been started for him as well, just to protect himself. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes for advanced nano, because why not? And I'm going to speed this up just a little bit more. Billy Nuke has been completed by Cunning Fox, loading as we speak. Team 1 doesn't have a lot of TMD up here in the north, so AA could easily be taken out. I feel like this one would be a good one, taking out some T3 mexes here for Team 1. Nice little value out of that. Billy Nuke will have to be forced back by the Fat Boy, but transports dropped on top of the Fat Boy here from Team 2's Cunning Fox. Great placement here. Some of them do get shot down before all of them drop. We do see some Percys trying to stand in the way of these Percys, but a couple more shots will do the Fat Boy in. Great grab here by Cunning Fox. All those forces get destroyed, of course, but he did his job. He killed off the Fat Boy. Chicken's moving northward to try to assist. And that was a great, great play. I was busy doing something for a brief second, so I couldn't see the initial landing, but great, great play here by Team 2's Cunning Fox. Is going to send his forces in as well. Billy Nuke is being loaded as we speak, and then he'll probably launch it up here and just make his way eastward once again. Satellite has been started by Veo because he's UEF, and why not? That's usually people's opinion about satellites. Like, why not? You're UEF, why not build it? Just why not? And those fire beetles down here. There are some fire beetles down here for Thrassi. They're not I wouldn't say they're that useful right now. A large T3 group where they can actually have some radar signatures here, so they know something's there, they just don't know what it is. Monkey is going to be focused down, though, for those Percies and Titans, that the ones that do remain. The Monkey will die here, unfortunately, for Thrassi, but again, the job is all about delaying as much as possible. So again, the longer this engagement down here goes, the more tension goes down here, the better it is over here in the middle and the north. North isn't really great, but with 2 chickens coming in to deal with this land army, Team 2 will be forced back. They tried to reclaim and get some engineers up there, but doesn't look like that's going to happen here for anybody on. I think some reclaim didn't happen, but the engineers were destroyed before they could finish operations, and the wreck was destroyed as well. Gunships inbound here for the air player of Composite. Lots of air being utilized here by Team 2, and it's just going to be denied further and further by Team 1's, specifically Loki's just constant construction of AA emplacements. He's not stopping that. He knows Team 2 has that advantage and will not let them use it on their side of the map. Satellite has been completed here for Bayo as well, and traversing to the other side of the map. Looks like he's targeting Cunning Fox. He's been the one that's been making the most progress on land, so slowing his roll would be good for Team 1, providing another buffer zone on the north. Especially Bayo being the one being attacked. He's kind of like, that's kind of annoying. We do see some ASFs outbound from Thrassi to go after the restorers. Some of the AA able to at least poke and prod at the ASFs from Literal and Composite, but it's not enough to do a lot of damage. Just enough to do a little bit of damage. But again, little is better than none. Loki says Sam's here. Saying build more Sams is, I think, what they're talking about. I do like how there's essentially a perimeter fence with all of the AA. There's some layering of defenses in the middle, but there's nothing on the edge. So we do see a little bit of layering up here for Strider, just to protect against any sort of bombers that may come in. Go after the nuke. There is an artillery placement that will be built. I mean, you see the formation, you know what's going to be built there. There's really nothing else that really gets built like that. So Team 1 going for artillery. 35 minutes on the clock. Second satellite has been started. Team 2 needs to fight in some sort of different way. Shield's going to be built to protect the air investments. And I think they're just focusing too much on air. 36 minutes on the clock. Team 2 1.2k. Team 1 at 1.5k. With Literal being the one that's producing the most mass for Team 2, and Team 1 being Thrassi, followed right behind by Veo. And Veo's been attacked a lot by Cunning Fox, so there's a decent amount of reclaim up here to the north. Not a couple, but a decent amount of Percies up here as well, just to scoop up. Chickens holding the fort in the middle. They are falling back. He doesn't want to push in. There are 2 Colossi with a Fat Boy supporting them, so I would retreat in here in that regard as well. Unfortunately, it's just not really a lot of engagements going down here. It's very hard to get units all the way up and down and around. Team 2 will see that a mile away. Not really useful. The only way to send them would be down the middle there, where those Colossus are moving. Team 2 hasn't even tried to make a frontal assault down the middle. There's nothing in the middle that Thrassi has to defend against any sort of land incursion, but Literal and Composite focusing so much on the edge. They have done a decent job now making their way onto this other section of the plateau, but I feel like they could have easily made their way just straight down the middle and called it a day. Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So they're going all the way around, and it's kind of like J formation. 3 chickens versus 2 Colossus. If all the chickens are engaging at the same time, I think the chickens have it. I think. Well, there is a fat boy, so that kind of messes my math up a little bit. I think this Colossus will survive the first chicken death, and then they'll kill the Colossus off, and then the chicken won't harm the other chicken, so that'll be fine. And then a 2v1 scenario, the chickens win that fight. Transport coming in with more Percies on board. Unfortunately, it's going to land right next to the Ion Storm. It's going to get some damage on those chickens, but yeah, not the best placement. Second chicken will be killed off. The Colossus is still alive. This third chicken will kill off this Colossus. And just kind of leave a reclaim field for somebody. Mainly, I think Team 2's Cunning Fox will get it. Third chicken will die to the Percies. The Fat Boy will stay alive. And I wouldn't be surprised to see engineers already moving in from Team 1. But I do love the Continental transports from Cunning Fox, just sending units to the front line, dropping them on top of stuff, trying to get kills that way. Very good tactic against the Fat Boy, not necessarily against the Chicken with an Ion Storm ability. But, you know, there's only so much you can do, so I applaud the tactic. Execution could be a little better, but still the tactic is definitely great when he can pull it off. Air fight over in the east. Not a lot of ASFs here for Team 1, and mainly it's just trying to delay Team 2 as much as they can. Crab is online. Perse is moving in. Not really going to do a lot of damage, unfortunately, to that Crab, especially with getting some veterancy here pretty shortly. Is he going to crush a couple of Perseus? No, looks like he's fine. The Perseus just going to ignore the Crab. The Crab ignoring the Perseus. Perseus going, okay, just ignore us, why don't you, kind of thing. Hole in the AA defenses has been made by Team 2. This would be the time to bring in some bombers or gunships or both to move in to go after the nuke or the artillery. Does Team 2 know about the artillery? No. Oh, no, they do know about it. They just have to zoom in enough and they'll see it. They can't see it in this view, but if they hover over it, they zoom in, they'll see it. That nuke is loaded as well, so that is definitely in Team 1's favor with another satellite going to be started. Does not get benefits from P-gens. Please don't stack your P-gens next to satellites. It's not a good idea. Volatile explosions and like doesn't get any sort of adjacency bonuses. It would be not necessarily OP, but significantly more annoying to deal with a Novak satellite who can recharge faster because its base station is next to a giant P-gen. You know, it's kind of one of those, yeah, I can fire twice as fast now. Yeah, not like the Novaks wasn't annoying already anyways, but Loki's commander being sent in, he's going to copy what Cunning Fox has been doing and just send his units forward. His unit being his comm. His comm has cloaking on board. He needs to immediately drop that commander. AA shooting down the transport. He does get dropped. Does Team 2 see him? They do not. They see the laser, of course. It means Omni is not in range. Where is the Omni station? Down here. So I think he's going to be barely in range. Okay, so once he crosses in, Triarch control Ks. Maybe that's a connection issue. I didn't see any issues with him. Possibly, maybe. So possibly, but definitely unfortunate. But Percy's just trying to ground fire that commander. Percy's doing a great job getting a nice little AoE. Oh, that comm needs to move. You can tell he's in the red or really suffering with the pulsing of the cloaking. He's trying to move, and there he goes. Team 1 loses technically the first commander of the game of Loki. It was a great effort by Team 1's Loki to try to drop on top of those units, but it's not enough. Cunning Fox was on top of it, microing his Perseus just enough to try to track. And since there was a little bit of an AoE splash on those shots, it was just enough to kill him off. Obviously, Triarch had to leave for some reason, regardless if it was connection or lag, whatever the case may be, which I guess is just connection. But he just had to go. I don't count those as kills. I just don't like to. It's not a... I'm not saying it's a legitimate kill, but it's just a departure of the game because of an exterior issue, regardless if it's connection or other need. That, again, it's not game-related, essentially. But it is now a 3v3 tied-up game here at 41 minutes on the clock with Strider getting everything that both Triarch and Loki owned, which is going to really jumpstart that eco and load those nukes a lot quicker. November is apparently what that one is called because he just named it because why not? And anything else named? No, nothing else is named. He's going for his second artillery. And again, more satellites. And now artillery. And now a scath is going to be started here by Team 1. So game ender technology has been thought about and planned here for Team 1, Team 2. Any sort of plans in that regard? No, just air grid, Colossi. Artillery is online here for Team 2. So Emissary versus Hovertham. Will definitely favor the Emissary in that regard. The Hovertham, not the Hovertham, the Emissary focusing on the satellites up here to the north. That's a more of a immediate threat versus just one artillery piece. We do see a line of units moving southward. Colossus supporting, or being supported by some Restorers and Titans moving in from the south. There's a Monkey Lord online. That Crab is not going to survive. It's blocking a little bit of the shots here on the Monkey, but the Monkey will not. 30,000 and falling in the red. It might be enough to kill the Colossus. There's still some Titans here. If these were Perseus, that'd be dead by now. But the attack on the southern side of Team 1 just continues to happen. Gets stopped right here. Team 1 needs to send more defenses, build more stuff here to defend. I think I'm saying defend a little too much. It's a hole that Team 2 can constantly exploit. Now the monkey is online. Those Perseus are going to be dealt with, and a little bit of reclaim for Team 1 to scoop up. Satellites from Bayo going after, looks like they're going after pigeons over here. I feel like they should be coupled with the artillery from Stratter, like, hey, you're focusing on this, we'll focus on this, and just cause a chain reaction with those pigeons. From Literal, we do see the emissary still being shielded, has some hives, so I love the intermixing of technologies. Just because, you know, one faction has a better TMD, one has a better shield, one has a better artillery, like that kind of thing. Kind of mixing in the best of the best. Because not every faction is good at everything. So, you know, the Cybrans are very good at not usability, but versatility. Strapping, I think, I can think of a Crab, Monkey, Brick, Wagner. All have torpedoes on board their units, and all of them are land. I think there's one more unit that has torpedoes for Cybrans. Not the Com can too, but he's a unit, air quotes. I don't really classify him as a unit. I classify him as an armored command. I guess the armored command unit, I guess, is the U in ACU, but I just don't think of him as like a unit you build, I guess would be a better way to put it, versus a unit you just have. And artillery just trading shots back and forth. How's that second hub with them? It is online, so 2v1. The shields are starting to buckle here a little bit, but they are recharging at a decent rate. The emissary is now being the focus of both the satellites and the artillery from Team 1. I don't know if the shields will hold that much longer. There are 3 satellites, 2 artillery, and a partridge in the pear tree. That might be enough to pierce the shields. I'm not super confident with the damage in my head. We do see that Scathis is being built as well. Once that comes online, game over for Team 2, unless they teleport in and kill stuff off. Team 1 just forcing their way forward now down the middle. Strider getting his hands on some mass in the middle of the map here. Trying to, again, get as much mass as he can for that Scathis. I don't see anything on Team 2 side of the map that remotely revolves around any sort of game enders or massive amounts of artillery besides the one that's already been built. I feel like Team 2's been out on the back foot for a while and they just haven't been able to recover. We did see a lot of momentum going here for Cunning Fox, but it's just Team 1 had enough time to build and just didn't really materialize here for Team 2. 1.6k for Team 1, 1.5k for Team 2 in terms of mass per second. We do see that the units are now pushing back against Team 2 in the southern edge. Lots of bouncers being used to deployed against those restores, as well as some AA. A couple of sniper bots, but not that many. The air advantage that Team 2 has enjoyed essentially the entire game been null and void for 90% of the game, just by the amount of AA that's been built by Team 1, both mobile and stationary. Oh, that group of ASFs took an artillery piece to the face, or a shot from the, that's gotta hurt. Those shields are still holding, to be fair, but one emissary is not going to be enough for Team 2. They need at least 3 of them, I think, at a minimum. Foxtrot is what this one's named now. The what is this, the military alphabet here for Strider. Foxtrot, November, Indigo, that sort of thing. The shields around the satellites are almost down. Lots of pigeons. It could easily turn into a cascade if Veo is not careful. Artillery piece is inbound. Artillery shot is inbound. Going after a nice little pigeon. Gets underneath the shields in the last second. Only takes out the pigeon, nothing around it. This Novax does take a lot of damage, though. One more explosion from a pigeon, and it is all over for it. But the shields are back online for the time being, though. The emissary just rips shields apart, though. It is devastating in that regard. 2N hitting here, says Loki. 2N. 2 Novax hitting here. Maybe that's what he's talking about. Artillery now redirected to the air grid for composite. But I feel like the game is just very much slowed down here for Team 2. They're kind of just stuck where they're trying to counter Team 1 as best they can, but Team 1 is just so far ahead with what's already been built and is currently building. I mean, the Scathus is in the yellow, almost in the green. Team 2 doesn't have anything of that sort. They're building a FAF warrior, not even building another emissary. Trying to keep the one emissary they have online. Is that a different artillery piece? Or is it the same piece? No, it's the same piece. Okay. I don't see any artilleries online here for Team 1 besides just these two. Nuke is also online and almost has 3 nukes loaded because why not? Is he just going to stack 5 nukes and launch them at the same time? Maybe he's going for the SMD. Maybe he's just going to go for that and call it a day, which kind of looks like that's what he's going for at this point. Where are those? The satellites are in the middle of the map here. I feel like they should just transition for that SMD and call it a day. We do see that Literal has kind of noticed that and is shifting more shields down south of that artillery and, of course, that SMD. But if that SMD falls, that's game. The only thing that Team 2 has to fight back with is an emissary. They've done a tiny bit of damage up here, but not a lot. And that Scathus is now completed. 49 minutes on the clock here, and yeah, that's not going to feel good. We have a lot of ASS moving in. Not going to go anywhere, unfortunately. For Literal, I think he knows that the game is over at this point. Doesn't even know about the Scathus. No, he does not. And that Scathus fire is now raining in. And it's going for that emissary position. If that SMD does get clipped, that's it. Oh, Scathus. Nice, says Literal. And shields are going down. And Literal's like, yeah, that's GG. I'm like, yeah, it's 1.1k income, says Loki. Yeah, when you have 1.1k, it's gonna have a lot. But to be fair, Cunning Fox does have 1.4k now due to the fact that Literal has control Cade. Well, that's a lot of eco to play with, but unfortunately the shields are down. Transfer control, he has to realign that emissary. How's the P-gens here for him? He's still 25,000. Why are all the shields off? That's weird. They shouldn't be defaulted to off. They should be on, but I don't know about that. The SMD has fallen in Cunning Fox's team. The remainder of it does just say, nope, see you bye. That is the game here. 50 minutes. Sorry, not 14. 16 seconds on the clock. And Team 1's MVP, I feel like, even though Treyarch had to leave for some whatever reason, I feel like he deserves MVP. He was instrumental in killing off 2 of the 5 players on Team 2 side of the map. Really set up Team 1 for a kind of nice, more relaxed kind of game. Not really a lot of stress. We did see Cunning Fox do a great amount of work on the western side. Got barely close to this position, but just couldn't break all the way through. And he had great drops with those Continentals. Nice drop here also by Loki going after some Perseus. Couldn't kill them all off, but did a great job killing as many as he did off. But I think Treyarch really set the game for Team 1 in the early stage and kind of just had them kind of nice, had smooth sailing the rest of the game. Let me know down in the comments if you felt the same way or not. And, of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I will see each and every single one of you in the next one.